So we have another speaker coming on, and then
I bet.
then we are done. So everybody, if you haven't gotten our lifetime access to every speaker, to every freebie, free bonus gifts, we also are going to give you the hottest AI tools download for 2026. Bob, could you show your screen for the lifetime access just real quick? If you haven't gotten it yet, now's your time. The price will be going up. It's only a one-time $37 investment. That's it. Just 30. And then here at the top, Bob, right, we're going to talk about how to make money and grow your business with AI, a workshop there. And you're going to get VIP access ticket to everything here, the live recordings, everything we've been doing today. Plus, Bob, what else do they get?
Yeah, that you not only do you get all the live recordings from today, but you
Yeah.
get live recordings from tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to release about 20 additional trainings, and they're all going to be different speakers talking about AI. Remember, don't show up on Zoom. We're going to be on recordings tomorrow, and then you're going to get with VIP. You're going to get all of these recordings, so you can go at them on your leisure and watch them at your leisure. Stop them, start them, play them as long as you want. You'll have lifetime access. We'll also get our top tools for 2026, and you'll get our Make Money and Grow Your Business with AI workshop, as well as a free gift from every speaker. I mean, there's everything from videos and trainings to PDFs and infographics. You'll get all of these free gifts as a result of being part of our VIP, and it's just 37 bucks. I mean, if you broke it down, it's probably like 25 cents for each part of this program. So, and valued at a lot higher than that. So you'll get all of that just for 37 bucks.
Yeah. And all right, and beautiful. And so that's it. And everything will be around the newest, latest in AI. And Bob, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, and the last thing is before we jump in with Burke is if you haven't jumped in and got our clone program yet, you're going to want to do it. We're almost done today, so this is going to be one of your last chances to get this. Let me show you real quick. This
Yeah,
is
and to
our.
answer your question, the AI clone program
Mhm.
is a training. It will be on demand videos, but first we're going to do it
Hi
live,
there.
okay?
I am
We'll
Bob
do it.
Dietrich's clone.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's God, he really loves to jump in there, your
He does.
clone,
He
huh?
does. He's a very rambunctious. I got to
I like it. I
beat him
like it.
down with a stick.
Look how good he looks too. There you go. He's going. So yeah, we're gonna it will be this AI clone training. It will be on demand. You'll get lifetime access, but we're gonna first do it live with you, and then you'll have access to it. We'll do it live in February. We'll give you the dates a little bit closer to it. And also you'll be able to submit questions if you have any. Once you're live, once you're with us, as well, will be able to, literally hold your hand, walk you through things, and help you to really implement this, okay, so that you can have your clone built and you could be really successful with it. And Bob, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, you'll also get our program on how to, excuse me, monetize your clone and turn it into a revenue producing asset. It'll monetize it in the form of saving money and in the form of making money. And then also, bonus number two, the AI driven virtual summit monetization system, which is basically how do you produce a summit like this one? I mean, again, we had 3,700 people register for this event, and that's a big deal because that would be a huge infusion of people into your community as well. We're going to show you how to do that. We're going to show you how we inject clones into the process to make that happen. So you'll get both of those things for just the payment of $97. This is lifetime access. And somebody was asking, are either one of these memberships, are you going to pay monthly for them? And the answer is no, you're not going to pay monthly. This is a one-time payment for each one of these, and they're both separate programs. So there you go.
Yeah, so we made it very affordable, and we hope to see you there. And we'll look forward to continuing with you and getting to know you better too, and answer your individual questions. So, Bob, the question was, what app is used to create an AI clone? What do you need?
Well,
So,
yeah, there's lots of different apps that you can use. The best one out there really at this point is HeyGen, but that's for the video clone. Now, 11 Labs would be used for an audio clone. We use Nano Banana and some of these other some other programs to create the image clone. And then there's also clones out there to take your information, your knowledge, and put it onto a database so your clone can refer to it. So there's different clones, different styles of clones, right? Just like you have different styles of AI. You have ChatGPT where you can type things in. You could also speak into ChatGPT. It could speak back to you, and you can change the voice on ChatGPT. So just like that, that's the type of clones that you're going to be creating as well, except that they're going to be much more intricate, and you're going to see, as you saw in my video, that they're going to look like you, they're going to sound like you, they're going to move like you, and you'll be able to create those with this program.
yeah,
Hi,
and we'll
Bob.
show you.
I think the question is, does anyone need to download anything before going into the AI clone training, or is
Nope.
everything going to be walked through when they're in there?
Everything's going to be walked through.
They
Everything's going
don't
to be
need to
walked
bring
through.
anything to it.
No,
Awesome.
we'll show them what they need when they get there.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank
Thanks for
you.
the
Yeah.
clarity.
So we'll hold your hands, we'll take you step by step. And I think that's an important distinction. Yeah. So we will do that. Um, so Bob, with that, okay. And guys, if you haven't done it yet, now's your time to go to the chat, go grab it, because after this, we're going to close out and that's it. We're done.
All
So
righty.
with that,
Yeah.
we've got Burke here. Welcome, Burke. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. I guess I'm the
Yeah.
last one for the day, huh?
Well, we knock it off right out of the park with really going strong, and then at the end, we also always end really strong. So we're so glad to have you here. So thank you.
Well, thank
Yeah, and we're excited for the topic too.
Yeah,
This is
excited to
gonna be
talk
great.
about building a complete AI powered roadmap. And I think a lot of times we forget how important it is to plan and create the roadmap and step by step. And, one of the things we had a guy on earlier, I don't think you were here for it. Iman was taking us through how ChatGPT and other LLMs work behind the scenes with the
right.
processing time and all that other stuff, the summaries it does, how it processes information. And we were talking about courses. It's like, are courses dead? And courses aren't dead because
No.
you need the accountability, but you also need the step-by-step process and the roadmap. And that's what we're going to talk about here is what is your roadmap to get to wherever you want to go, or maybe within your own course, within your own processes. So very, very important key piece of the online business puzzle. So before we get started, Burke, tell us a little bit about you and how you get started in the AI space, and then we'll jump into the questions and finish this sum it up strong with this killer conversation.
Well, over the last 35 years, I've sold 2 million copies of a business plan system that's helped people can take their ideas and turn them into successful businesses.
Jeez.
And so that's the main thing. And it started out, I had a client, I was in Silicon Valley,
Hmm.
and I had a client who had a software engineering firm, and Apple wanted to buy his software.
Hmm.
And at the time, the SBA did a study of 29,000 businesses, 26,000 of which failed. And they did a study of what happened with these 26,000 businesses that failed. And they found that 65% of them had no business plan. So Apple
Wow.
wanted to see my client's business plan because they're betting the farm on his software, and they wanted to make sure his company was going to stay in business to develop and support the product. Now, I
Yeah.
got a degree in business from the University of California at Santa Barbara. I worked for Texas Instruments, so I knew the technology. From there, I worked at the Sharper Image Catalog as the electronics buyer. That was kind of a guy gadget catalog back in the day. And they moved me over to the art department to be a catalog copywriter because they liked how I could explain the products, to people. And then
Yeah.
from there, I discovered a word processor in Silicon Valley that I was selling to enterprises. So if you take all three of those together, kind of the twisted background there from technology to the catalogs and the direct response marketing, and then selling to enterprises, I had kind of the trifecta of whatever it took to put together this plan, which I thought of as kind of a catalog of everything Apple wanted to know about my client's business. Long story short, he got the deal. And over the next year or so, I helped a dozen or so clients really organize their business plans, organize their businesses, structure their financial models, put their pitches together, coach them on pitching the business plan for them. They all raise capital. And one day I'm thinking, I'm gonna have an invention of my own someday because I used to read popular science and popular mechanics back as a kid. I'm thinking, where do these inventions go? And where's that 200 mile per gallon carburetor? And I'm going to have an invention. So I'm going to gather all my content from my business plans that I put together for these people and create the ultimate business plan for myself. So I'd be ready when I got my big idea. Well, halfway through this thing, it hits me like, oh, wait a minute. This is the idea because I could make this
That's so good.
template that people could write business plans themselves
Right.
because I could write them fast enough for people. And plus, it's a lot of work, and certainly without a template. Anyway, after like 50 years in business, I've discovered or noticed really that most entrepreneurs are just overwhelmed. There's just too much to do. And at the same time, they're desperate for cash, usually, to build their businesses. And on top of that, they're paralyzed when it comes to prioritizing what to do next. So the cognitive load is overwhelming. What if I took all this template, I made this template of a business plan? You can do it themselves with their team and advisors, and you can put together a business plan, a credible business plan very quickly. I was even talking to an investor because I get these emails that says you don't need a business plan. You can do it. You just need a pitch deck and a smile and all that, and you can raise capital. And I'm talking to this guy. This guy can write a check for $1 million. I was sitting next to him at a conference, and I just out of morbid curiosity, I said, "Do you still, read business plans?" He looks at me and goes, "Hell yes, I read business plans. I want to know what you know." Because, these guys have been investing in businesses for, well, venture capital has been around at least 50 years, if not longer. And they know often more about your industry than you do. And they want to know what you know, and they want to know that you know the risks and will you share those risks because they want to know that you're being honest and forthright and what do you know about the business? Because they're betting on the jockey. They're betting on the jockey more than the horse.
Yeah.
And they want to know, and they also want to know what's a nice person like you doing in a business like this? Like, why are you doing this? Because you need to have a reason to stay on the horse because you're going to get thrown off a million times and they want to know that you're going to get back on it. And so there's all these kind of components that go into successfully building a business and certainly pitching investors to get money to do it. At the same time, out of the other side of my mouth, I would say I pitch you on how do you build your business without raising capital because A, you want to do as much as you can without investment in there because there's a lot you can do. And the more you can do, the more impressive that is to investors. You don't need their money. But at the same time, if you can do that without raising the capital, it doesn't cost you as much. In fact, we had a client back in the day who he got 2 Learjets with no money.
Wow.
Now, how do you do that? I'm envious of that myself, but he wanted to start a jet charter business and he used the business plan. He was going to go talk to some investors about buying a couple of jets or buying a jet. And, investors really aren't going to invest in something like that. They might have a jet, but they're not going to help you buy one. Anyway, so he found a man who owned 2 jets, showed him the business plan, and convinced him that his planes would be better off with my guy managing them. And so he was managing the man's jets. I'll fly you anywhere you want to go anytime you want. In the meantime, we could charter these out to other people. So he got these 2 airplanes for nothing. And, which is a lesson in and of itself is where we think we need to go out to raise money or get money from somebody so we can buy a thing when more often than not, you can go to somebody who's got the thing and show them your plan and they might let you just have the office space, the warehouse space, we had a client who was brewing beer. Do you think they needed to raise money to build a brewery? No. All you have to do is have a formula. You take the formula to a brewer with your labels, and they use their bottles, their ingredients, and they charge you for bottling up a truckload of beer with your formula, and you're off to the races.
Wow.
There's so many ways to get things. And even there's Richard Branson who started Virgin Airways.
I was going to say, it sounded a lot like the story of Richard Branson.
He sold tickets ahead of time and then started making payments on a used 747. So
because all the money for the airline comes in before your lease payments do and all that stuff, right? So yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting.
So a lot of it's an education on how to build your business. We've done a lot of different businesses. So there's a cross-pollination of industries because you can learn a lot from one industry and apply it somewhere else. And so there's prompts. We originally built the business plan where it's all this content where I took the company names out and redacted stuff and left numbers in. So it's more of like a big page of human prompts, which I'll show you in a moment. And then we added AI. We recently added AI to it. So say, take all of this content and use that to create this section. And that's really where the magic occurs because I have a number of clients who try to write a business plan with just straight AI. And there's competitors out there that it's AI native. And the AI says, here, write me the business plan on this. And you have a handful of prompts, but it doesn't give you the context. It doesn't give you the whole lay of the land of what you're doing with this business. And so I'll show you how that can work.
Right.
And did you want me to show you that first? Or you
Yeah,
said,
well, let me just make sure I got the lay of the land here. So first of all, why are plans even necessary? I think when one of the things you covered was that, listen, what'd you say? 65% of the businesses that get started without plans fail, right? So that means that your percentages go way up when you when you have a plan, regardless of whether you're trying to raise money or not. But when you
right.
have a plan, also these other opportunities like fall in your lap that you might not expect. Like somebody might say, "Hey, I have a warehouse you can do, or I have this, or I have that," and different opportunities can fall in your lap when you're prepared with the business plan as well. We got that
I've
down?
asked, yeah, I've asked people, do you have a business plan? And they say, well, I'm not a startup. Like,
Yeah.
what difference does that make? I mean, when you think about it, we are sure you need the best time to write a plan is, when you start your business plan. Start your business. The second best time is now. But the idea is you really just is you've got month of money, you've got people you're coordinating, you're sorting this out. How do you coordinate all this stuff and make sure it makes sense? I think it was Buckminster Fuller back in the day who said, the mistake in the plan requires an eraser, a mistake in the field requires a checkbook. So it's much easier to think this thing out ahead of time. And, then I think about, okay, so you're starting a business, you want to sort it out. And then if you're going to raise money, you got to explain to the investors what you're going to do with it. And venture capitalists will look at 1,000 deals a year and they'll fund a handful, maybe five. So you want to be those five guys. You don't want to be the 995 who didn't get it. And then I think then there's my friend or my client who had the deal with Apple. You want to prove to the big company that your little company can deliver, because sometimes that's a big deal. It's way over your head, but you got to show them you can make it.
Yep.
Then you're onboarding people. You're bringing a new person into the company. Here's what we're doing. Here's the problem we solve. Here's who's got it. You're telling them the whole story so they know how to plug in their part. When you're doing strategic planning, you don't just say, okay, it's 2020, whatever year it is, new year. Let's do 10x what we did last year. And everybody's thinking, well, why? Or let's change this thing. And everybody goes, why? And so you want to have all that. That's part of the strategic plan. And of course, at the other end of the spectrum, you're down to selling your business. How do you convince? And the brokers would tell me that unfortunately, most businesses are unsellable these days. And there's a lot of baby boomers selling businesses, of course. And the other bunch of businesses are train wrecks behind the scenes, which it's odd because I hear them use that same word over different guys in different places talking about businesses for sale, and they say they're train wrecks. And you got to fix that. And that's what a business plan puts together, the prospectus. Of course, we've got a number of other tools like a employee handbook and safety plan and different things you can clean up the business. The idea, you want to sell the business for more money faster at a higher valuation, of course. So there's that. And then if you're going to give the business to the kids or someone's going to inherit, the succession planning, it's the owner's manual. So you have all these reasons to use this plan along the way. So it's hardly a waste of time. It's quite a good investment in time to do it, because you just keep updating the thing over time and you can use it over and over to raise capital. SBA loans, hey, they did the study. They want to see your plan. So there's a lot of times in places where you need a business plan.
And I love that you say that a plan can help you prioritize your marketing strategy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and so yeah, so if you don't have a marketing strategy, that's a great place to start with your plan. Is that where you start with your plan? Or well, you probably start with your goals, right? And then you inject the marketing
You
strategy.
start with the problem. You
The
solve
problem.
a problem. People like to come in, look at my new product, woohoo.
Mm,
And I come from Silicon Valley, and Silicon Valley is famous for solutions looking for problems.
mm,
And so you want to have a legitimate problem that you're solving. And then you want to be the why you? What's a nice person like you doing a business like this? And I think of some clients way back when, couple, their child drowned in their pool.
mm.
Not a happy thought. However, their business was, we've created a product to prevent children from drowning in pools. And so you ask them, well, why are you guys doing this? Well, our kid drowned in the pool. Like, say no more. You'll get back on the horse. We believe you. So you have, it doesn't have to be that quite dire, but that's a fairly dramatic
Yeah.
example. But
Yeah.
you really want to have a good reason of why are you motivated to do this business. I ran through my story, popular science, popular mechanics, helped a client with a business plan, put them together, hey, let's do this thing because people desperately need this. You're not going to convince an investor otherwise. So you got to do this whole thing. So the problem, who's got it? How are they solving the problem now? What are they spending? What is it costing them to solve the problem as it is? And you just get, then now you look at how big is this market? How many
Right.
people have houses with pools and kids? There's an example. And
Yep.
so you're progressing the story along, and you've got your story baked into it, and you're just progressing through the whole thing. I'll show you in the menu tree of the business plan kind of what that progression looks like.
Yeah. Um,
So
yeah, if we why don't we go into the screen share now as we're talking because I know you're going to talk about comparing your company with your competitors and also the features and benefits and how AI can help you with both. Yeah, we can jump into some samples of some business plans maybe or whatever you were planning to share today.
can you see my screen here?
I can. It says business power tools, values and practices, priorities, etc.
Yeah. So this whole thing. First of all, the diagram is kind of a bento box. If you look at the
Yeah.
Japanese lunch box thing,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
wanted something. How do you gamify something like this? Is typically horrifically dry stuff, but at least make it sort of interesting. And the business plan lives on this panel next to it. You can see we've got a contacts and finance models, HR, a whole bunch of other stuff. But here is everything business plan. This is our BizPlanBuilder. Now, this used to be a Windows app back in the day. So that if you bought software in boxes in stores way back when, it
Hmm.
had a big book in it. And well, this is that book right here. It's in there. But the BizPlanBuilder lives here. There's financial models, a pitch deck, all that stuff, some other things. But the business plan lives here. My demo example is here. Oh, I got to log in again. I'm not neglected to do that. Okay, Burke, log in. It does time out on you, which is a weird thing. Anyway, business plan.
Did you vibe code this, or is this something you guys had done before?
No,
Or?
this is done old school. This has been evolving for years. So yeah, it's not really vibe coded. It's no.
Got it.
Yeah, this is taking all those templates and making them work together because you want to take this information here. Like I'll put the company name. Because this is kind of like mail merge if you look at it that way, but we're filling in some of the blanks. Part of the objective is to minimize the amount of typing you got to do. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. Anyway, right here is the legal company name, which goes, of course, on the top of the letterhead, plans everywhere. But throughout the document, you're going to have an alias, or my other example would be Ford Motor Company Inc. is what she's going to say on the letterhead. Throughout the document, it's going to say at Ford that we do this, at Ford we do that. So we give you two different versions of company name, the website, all that stuff. Add founders to it. Somebody wanted to add a whole bunch of founders to it. I would say keep these things down to maybe 5, 5 founders or 5 people in the management team just to keep it simple, but you could do more. We are in the what industry? I'm using this example, electric surfboards. You ever seen an electric surfboard? They're kind of cool.
Oh, they're very
Anyway,
cool.
and you can be more elaborate here, but this is what is gonna inform the AI. What industry are we talking about here? And you'll see this fill in throughout. We have a whole number of categories here, business services, where the template can start with an initial starting point, something like advertising agency. But really, with the AI now, I'm going to just use the master template, which is the master here. And one of these days, I really want to make one for a rock band, but that's another subject. Anyway, so master template, when was the year business established, your fiscal year ends, this is more accounting stuff, and then save and next. And it opens up the whole thing. And you can see these are all the pieces of the business plan, which, arguably overwhelming. My initial thought was, yeah, let's show everybody what you're getting. You're getting your money's worth. Well, it is. This looks overwhelming, but I'll explain why in a moment. But this is really what it looks like, or what it originally looked like. Here, you'll understand in a moment. If I was to collapse the main headings, these are all the sections of your business plan. The executive summary. Start here with a problem you solve. What's the concept? How's the business structured? What are the product? All that stuff. So it all, makes sense. And we'd open up one of these sections here. Let's do the start here because that's where I said to start. And typically, this is going to be completely empty because we're accommodating adding different kinds of templates. But all you do is you click template at the top here. Here's the template. You click add this template to your plan. Boom. And now it's all in the editor. Now, for any of you who have app fatigue, I call it app fatigue. I have app fatigue. If I have to learn how to use one more program, I'm going to scream. Someone says, hey, we're going to use Teams, or we're going to use Slack, or we're going to use something. It's like, I can't do it. I know how to use about 50 programs or 100 programs now between Excel and Word and everything else, and everybody's idea of how to do all these things.
Yeah, or if they just update your iPhone OS, it's like
we know how to use Zoom now, all that stuff. Anyway, but I say all that to point out the simplicity of there's a simple editor here. All I'm showing you is a menu to get this thing you want. There's the editor here where you can edit this any way you want. And so what I've done here is I put in the prompt, and this is telling you what to do because we have video intros to most of the sections, which is me explaining what's an investor or lender looking for here.
Let's talk about the opportunity, what you're selling here. What you're really telling an investor or lender is there's a world out there, there's a universe of people with a certain pain and a certain problem or a certain opportunity. And what they really want to know is what's the quantification of how many are there? There are 10 million people who suffer from whatever it is.
Anyway, there's that. And then each section's got that. There's a place for some external notes. There's the explanation of what goes on in this section. It doesn't have to be really complicated. The template you saw, here's the content for it. Now, the content's all down here. This is what we had before. This originally, if you look at this content, I'll slow down a minute. The idea here is to give it's the human prompt, if you will. This is what we sold for many years. You have this thing, well, okay, I'm going to do this. Let's get rid of that. And you're going to edit this and you fill this thing in here. You shrink you shrink these sentences down by simply editing them. Here's the electric surfboard industry is filled in. The company name is filled in. All this stuff is there, but this is still a lot of work. It's daunting. And so what I thought was, let's put a prompt here. And I'm going to, you're an expert industry analyst researching the electric surfboard market. You want to, again, identify, give the AI, tell who it is, give it an identity. Develop a comprehensive business plan for attracting investors to fund or acquire the company. That name is baked in. Now we want the 10 most appropriate overall problems and issues, points of friction that we solve. Now I stop you here because I don't want to just load this thing up, run the AI without you getting a chance to edit the prompt. Because you might want to say, just give me the 5 most appropriate overall problems to solve. Or maybe it is 10. I'll leave it at 5 just for simplicity. And then we're saying prioritize by highest probability and least risk. What you're telling the AI to do there is don't just give me top 10 or 5 or whatever it is, because they'll just give you any old top 10. I want them prioritized by probability. I want the top number 1 to be the highest probability. Then I want to give me the Pareto principle on this. Give me the 20% of these things that are going to generate 80% of my revenue. So now you're narrowing this thing down. You're also showing an investor, because an investor is going to assume that you used AI. The investor, I say leave all of this prompt in to show the investor, this is the prompt we gave it. This is the veracity of the prompt that we gave it. This can improve and you can change it all you want. Now, also AIs, you can edit this any way you want because I'm just editing here. Cite all the sources, include, because the AI is not told to say, I don't know. It won't say, I don't know. It's got to come up with an answer. And so you don't want it to hallucinate. You don't want it to make stuff up. So whatever it gets a source, we want to cite all those sources and include them in a table at the bottom of the section. So I'm telling it to do that. And then I'm saying, utilize this guide and the template, everything on this page as part of the prompt. So here's the prompt, the initial prompt, but actually I'm going to copy the entire prompt all the way down to the bottom of the page because I'm using the rest of this template in here, the rest of this content as the prompt. And I'm copying that. And so I'm going to go over to EarthGrid here. EarthGrid's a company started by a friend of mine up north, Northern California. He wanted something. He's a big fan of all these different AIs. He's one of these geeks, kind of nerdy guys. Not nerdy, he's a geek, but he goes way down the rabbit hole and stuff, way further than most of us would dare to tread. Anyway, he wanted kind of like the best of all the AI. So his system can grab with the right AI for the right purpose,
Yep.
and he keeps it private. So in this box here, we can paste all of what I just copied. It's all in here. And you click his little button. It's called earthgrid.ai. And it will keep it private for you, so you're not out educating all the different AIs on how it works. And you can see here's what it's coming up with sources. I can copy this formatted text, come back to my system here. I'm going to overwrite all of this, and I'm just going to paste that in there. And so now you can see what the AI just generated for this thing. I just mind-boggling. You want to take this out here. Really, now all you have to do is kind of do some editing or formatting if you don't like the way it's for. Like I would take this here. This is a quote, and you could simply center it. I want to put it in blue, and bold, and I could edit. So you could format it any way you want, and then just keep going. And if I wanted to do it in here, here's your 3 high-level approaches. Here's your 20% of the market opportunity generates 80% of the revenue. You're going to focus on this. So some places, like there's a Pareto thing here. I just change formatting just for readability. Like here's the low risk here on this one. So you can see when you look through that, what's amazing, it's not just for dazzling the investors. This is for you. So you can really understand your business in a whole new way at a deep level with, the numbers, because the investors want to see numbers with every section. You should see numbers with every section. So you want to know what's going on here. And then again, here's your sources at the bottom to show that we're not making stuff up. Let me do another one really fast for you. Let's see. Where's one to do market analysis? Target customers. That's always a good one. So we go to the template. We add the template to the plan. There it is. We grab the prompt. Whoops. I want to grab just the prompt. Here's all the different target customer possibilities. More elaborate prompt. But look at the prompt that makes. That is one monster prompt that's going to give a lot of specific information. Now, most people would, I'm going to copy that. Most people think this is the prompt. And that's what most people write business plans with, is a prompt right there. That ain't enough. So back over here, I'm going to leave this thing. I can leave this on, so it can leave that in place. So in other words, if I leave that box, I'm going to uncheck the initial prompt. I'm going to leave the information that it gave me, because now what happens if you wave your mouse over this, you can see it says, check the response if you want to include it in the next query. So we might include this part of this. This is how your plan evolves. It starts building on itself. And so you paste all this in here. Did I paste it right? Did I not copy it? I thought I pasted that. Apparently I didn't. Yes, I did. I run it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see how long it takes. I mean, doing this by hand. I mean, I was looking at my own plan thinking, how the hell am I going to do this? Just all this information. This is where it dawned on me to put the prompts in here and just try it. And so target customers, oops, it's at the bottom. You grab the little icon here and it gives it to you formatted. So I can go back in here now to target customers and just overwrite this whole thing.
Sure.
Paste. And there you go.
Well, Burke, we're just about out of time. Can we kind of summarize where we're at so everyone can kind of get an idea of like, okay, this is everything we've covered, and kind of wrap this up into a nice bow.
Yeah, and I'll show you a freebie I got for you. So yes,
Sure.
This is just a quick section here. You see the target customer, the markets, all these different areas of your business. You can do this exact same thing I did, throughout it. The prompts are baked in. You can see the market trends, your business concept, how the business is structured. all this stuff. There's here, legal form of business is simple because you just, figure out which one it is and you pick one and, cut, the risks are covered. You want to talk about risks. They're all baked into this. Your management team, it's everything an investor would want to look at. And the cool thing is it's not just one big Word document because that way you have to read it like a novel. Here, somebody can come along and look at it and go, well, let me see your target customers. And you open it up and they see the section, they can read it. So that's it. The idea is to have all, and there's a financial model baked in here. There's a pitch deck template, but you can see the idea here is to give you the information to really, really, really understand your business. That means you're the 5 people who get funded out of the 995 who do that. And so that's really, really what I want to show you of all this. And so anyway, but the rest of the business plan is here, financial model, documents, investor presentation, all that. Let me unshare a second and reshare what I want to show you my freebie, which is something kind of cool. Let's see, get my freebie to show up here. It's an Excel model, very simple. You can download it. So share Excel sheet. Here's this. I was I was sitting in my office one day. I was in Silicon Valley reading an article about somebody who was a billionaire, thinking, okay, what am I going to do to make $1 billion? These guys are making $1 billion. What am I going to do? I thought, well, hold it here. Before I kill myself trying to make $1 billion, how much money do I really need to have and do everything that I really want to do in life? And so I made this spreadsheet because that's what I do. I think of myself as kind of a spreadsheet artist, among other things. But the idea here is to answer some complicated questions that do the math you just can't do in your head. And so I thought, okay, so you can, in the blue text here is all stuff where you fill in your numbers. So, I'm in Santa Barbara, so $9 million. Yeah, if you want the really cool house in Santa Barbara, $9 million is what it's going to take. Now, cars, trucks, airplane. I want an airplane. Don't really need a boat, although it's a great place to have a boat. Country club, don't really care. But, whatever you want. There's no judgment here. Just make your list of all the stuff you can imagine having, doing, wanting. What does it cost? And you have an idea what these things cost. Are you going to make a down payment on it? If that's a down payment, this is how much cash you're going to need. And here's the total amount of cash you're going to need to buy all this stuff. Like, go ahead, get it right now. And if you're going to finance it, what's the interest rate? I don't have it updated for today's horrific interest rates, but nevertheless, the term on it, it'll give you the monthly payment. And you figure, okay, what's maintenance going to cost? And it's got to factor that in. So you've got maintenance added up. So your monthly payments are here. I need $2.5 million to get started. I need $82,500 a month. Yikes. How am I going to do that? Well, okay. I'm going to invest my money at 10%. My tax rate's 39%, depending what state you're in. California is arguably the worst. But the idea is, okay, here's this business. It's reverse engineering what I need to do. So if I have a 55% share of the business I'm in, it's got to sell for $40 million. My 55% is $22 million. I pay a capital gains tax of 15%. It means I get $18 million left. I'm going to pay taxes on it. I'm going to invest the rest, and I can afford everything. Is that over the top or what?
Yeah, that's awesome. So, because I mean, how many of us will ever spend $1 billion in our lifetime? We don't need that much to live. And so why would we shoot for some arbitrary number when we can get it down to what we really want as a goal, as a real goal that we can hit some real numbers with? And I think that's brilliant.
To your point, Bob, I had an interesting revelation along those lines because I realized, okay, get the house. That's the most expensive thing. Well, then an airplane, those are expensive as hell. But nevertheless, but you get that. You think about it. If you, let's say you left the boat and the airplane, boat and airplane, what the heck? So you get the house for all that, a lot of money. And the next most expensive thing is going to be your airplane and your boat. And then you're down to cars. I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, that's an Aston Martin DB10, so that's $9 million minus 200K. Now we're down into parties for every 5, travel and vacation, your mastermind, if you get some clothes, a TV, whatever else you want.
Right.
You're running out of stuff to buy. I don't need a super tanker. I don't need a moon base. I don't need.
All right. So this is your free gift. And when people sign up, they're going to get this, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I put a link in the chat. You can find it. It's this quick little, how much money do I need? and you can
Yeah.
just download it right
Well,
there.
we've actually got your free gift. We just dropped the link
Ah,
for it,
you
and we
do
got
it.
your page with your bio on it. So if you want Burke's free gift for planning, so you guys can plan and get your goals, hit your goals financially as well. Thank you so much. That was a great conversation. Sometimes, we just have to be spoon-fed the stuff that we're kind of not sure about, like the planning, right? And we talked about ROI earlier. Not a
Yeah.
popular discussion, but super important because, understanding your return on investment understands whether it's worth going down that road or not, especially for AI
Yeah.
staff and things like that. So this is a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time, for being here today.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate being able to show you guys a new way to put together a business plan, because without all that, the way you're doing it here, it is a lot of work and it's daunting and you won't do it. And
yeah.
so if you have AI to do it, at least it gives you something interesting to learn from yourself.
Uh-huh.
And if you need to show it to somebody, you got one. You can do that whole thing in a couple of hours,
Yeah. That's
which
so good.
you couldn't do
Burke,
it
thank you.
before.
Thank you so much. And thanks for being flexible this week. And yeah, excited to have you back on in the future.
Thanks. It was fun promoting you guys too.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks. See you guys.